Hey everyone, hope you're all safe and well. Well, the World Cup has just started, but in other news, we've got our roundup from the events that's been happening at Dunes Golf Centre over this last week. And we're going to start off with the one today, which is Super Sunday. So we're going to bring up on the screen the website that describes what Super Sunday is. In case you've been living under a rock and you don't actually know, this is what happens every Sunday at Dunes. It's for everybody to take part in. There's no separate prizes for men and women or juniors, but it's a bit of fun, but you can win some fabulous prizes as well. Basically, the nearest to the pin, which is on the third hole at Torrey Pines, on the day will win a 100 range ball voucher, which is worth £10. And here on the screen, I've put up our Hall of Fame. And as you can see, if you look at the very bottom, this is today's winner of the nearest to pin. It's a new one. It's Balgownie Boy with a shot to 1 foot 10 inches. You can see that we started this back in the middle of June, where Bex Gordon was our first winner of the nearest to pin. And since then, I started off a pot of £100 that's gone up £10 every single week. And as you'll see, it's for the first person to get a hole in one. And currently, the jackpot for next Sunday is £330. May I remind you all, there is no entry fee for taking part in this. All you've got to do is buy your basket of range balls, which start at £3.50, or you can get a large basket of 100 for £10. You will need to have downloaded the Top Tracer Range app to your phone. Again, that is a completely free download. And what we're finding is the Top Tracer is really engaging you to practice better. I am inundated with customers telling me how good it is on a daily basis of all ages and abilities. I had one parent in today just saying how much fun it is for their kids to come down and play the Go Fish game. So if you haven't yet played it, do come along. You do not know what you're missing out on. If you have played Top Tracer, please do comment on it. It really does help us to educate everybody else as to how good an experience it is, because there will be, and there are plenty of people who have no idea that this exists in Fraserburgh just yet. So please do put a comment on, tell people what you think of it. What games have you been playing? Anyway, on the right-hand side of this, you will see the longest drives. And Derek Bond has made it 3 weeks on the trot. And we've had a persistent southerly wind, which means it's been into the bays at Dunes. So his shot today of 339 yards, let me tell you, is a phenomenal hit. But I don't think Derek is going to be around to play next Sunday. So if you fancy getting a go at that, do come in next Sunday. There's my little hint for you. I don't think he is actually going to be in on the event that day. Other news, of course, we've been holding our Winter League. It's a weekly event, a different format on the Top Tracer every week. And we've had things like the points game. We've had closest to pins. We've had an approach challenge. We had a combination of nearest to pins last week. And this week it was the driving challenge. And a few of you perhaps mistakenly thought the only way you could win the driving challenge is to hit the ball a long way. But let me tell you, that is not the main factor for scoring. It was about hitting the fairways, getting into a good position. You got penalized heavily if you missed the fairway. So it wasn't all about distance. That said, the winner of the men's did hit the ball a long way. Of course, it's our friend Derek Bond, who scored a total of 896 points. Pete Bruce came in second with 748 points. I'm just checking on the app. Sam was in third, but of course the pros can't win. But that does mean that Sam has won our little mini series between me, Sam, and Chris this week, perhaps making up for his absence in anywhere near the top of the leaderboard in the nearest to pins last week. Looks like driving is Sam's strength. In third place, it'll be, was Ewan Barber. In fourth, Fraser Milne. I finished up there as well in sixth place officially on the leaderboard. And Stu White, the recent winners of some of the events at Dunes, finished in seventh. But of course, because of me and Sam, that was fifth place. What I'm going to do very shortly is to show you the effect that has had on the overall league tables. But before I do that, let's just check out the women's event. So at the top of that is Dawn Cardno with 749 points. In second was Claire Buchan on 620. Our league leaders up there was, of course, Dawn and Bex Gordon as well on 591 points. Wendy Dyson made an appearance this week and finished in fourth, on 565. Where is Pamela Taylor? Pamela Taylor finished in ninth this week on 473 points. And the reason I mentioned Pamela is she's up there on the league leaders table. It's a bit of a mouthful, that one. Moving on to the juniors then, I am just looking at this on the app on my phone. If you have got the Top Tracer app, I know you're not going to be able to see this very well, but it does show you, I'm just going to angle it, who are the leading scorers. And this is the junior one that's just come up here. We have Rory D is the winner this week with 599 points. Joshua White putting in another good performance with 520. Teddy Taylor on third with 516. Miller Watt fourth with 466. Alfie Milne with 374 in fifth. Hunter Gray with 357 in sixth. And Leighton Bruce on 357, also tied with Hunter Gray, I might add. So on to the league tables then, and how has this affected things? So I'm now going to just bring that up onto the screen. So bear with me 1 second. This should now show. Here we go. So I'm going to scoot down this page quickly to get to the league tables, and hopefully you can all see this. So in the juniors, it is extremely close, as you can see. Teddy Taylor is now just 2 points in front of Rory Dahl, who is on 51 to Teddy's 53. Joshua White continues his march up there on 42, and you can see all the others there as well. In the women's table, it is even closer. Bex Gordon is still at the top of the league, but only now by a single point from Dawn. And Pamela is in third place, 10, 11 points behind them. What's it like in the men's then? So here we go. Well, Ian Peck was leading going into this week, and he still is. But as you can see, it's got even closer in the men's. He's just half a point ahead of Stu White, and Stu's only 4 points ahead of Craig Barber. So it is all to play for, folks, as we head in to the second half of the Winter League. It's a total of 10 weeks. It leads right up to when we close on Christmas Eve. And what are we doing for week 6? Well, we've done it before. Here it is. The format for week 6 is back to what we did in the first week, which is the points game. Now, as you can see in red there, the video on how to play the points game will be uploaded tomorrow. I was at the Dunes today testing what games we were going to play. What challenge shall I give you next? And let me just share with you very briefly the thought processes as to why we're doing the points game again. I know some of you will be pleased with that. Some of you did really well. And I'm sure some of you will be a little bit disappointed because you enjoyed other games. What I'm trying to do is make it fair for everybody as much as possible. If I just did a longest drive, you can see from the Super Sunday, there's only going to be a handful of people ever compete at that. I really wanted to do some kind of virtual golf where you played and took your handicap off. But I thought, hang on a minute, so many users of the range don't have handicaps. So how is that going to work? What it will do, it will eliminate a big chunk of our regular customers who we want to support because they support us. So I was trying to keep it in games that everybody can play, whether you have a handicap or not. So folks, everybody from tomorrow morning, when we open at 10 until close of business on Sunday at 4 o'clock, next week, it is the points game. Pretty straightforward. Like I say, I'm going to put a video out there tomorrow, but just very quickly now, the whole range is set up where the flags are positioned, and the closer you get it to a flag, the more points you score. If you get a flag further out on the range and you get it close to it, you will score even more points. So essentially, you get lots of points if you get it close to a close range flag, but you get even more if you decide to go for a flag that's way out down the range, which is pretty obvious. But the trick is, look out for the multipliers. There are circles that pop up where if you hit it through the circle, you will multiply your score by up to 5 times, and that's how to really rack up the scores. Now, to be able to do that, you have to try and predict how high it is. Sometimes in order to get it into a point scoring zone, you also have to shape the ball from a height point of view, but also a curvature. That's where it can get a little bit tricky. But it was great fun the first time we played it. So that's what we're doing again. And I hope, as always, that you do go on and enjoy it and have a great week. So remember as well, it's completely free to enter. All the prizes that I give for these Winter League Super Sundays are just out of our pocket to try and encourage you to come down and use the range. But more than that, and really meaningfully, it's so that you can have a really fun, engaging time playing golf, and in particular at this time of year, to keep playing throughout the winter, so that by the time you get to next springtime, it's not a case of trying to remember which end of the club to hold. You're going to hit the ground running, and I'm really confident that next summer a lot of you are going to have your best performances ever. Just speak to Derek Bond. He's been in talking to me today about how much his short game was massively improved just by playing the closest to pins last week. He was even mentioning his driving today, how that really sharpens your focus. And Derek's a great player. There's a definite lesson there for all of you to take. So that's it for me, folks. I'm going to go and crack open a beer and watch the World Cup. And of course, I'll be watching the game tomorrow. That's it for me, folks. Bye for now.